After 50, the body starts sending messages it never used to send. Movements that once seemed effortless now require awareness. Digestion slows down, sleep feels lighter, and even going to the bathroom begins to demand more attention. Many people think these changes are just a natural part of aging, something to accept as inevitable. But behind these quiet adjustments, the body is actually speaking, warning us that certain daily routines are no longer working in our favor. Hemorrhoids are one of the clearest examples of this. Most people believe they just happen, maybe because of bad luck, genetics, or occasional constipation. But the truth is, hemorrhoids reflect how we live, how we eat, move, rest, and even how we breathe. And after 50, when circulation naturally slows down and the tissues lose elasticity, small mistakes in our daily habits can turn into powerful triggers for chronic inflammation and pain. The hardest part is that these habits don't look dangerous at all. They seem innocent, even healthy. They blend into the routine so seamlessly that people rarely question them, but day after day, they create small internal pressures that the body, already more sensitive with age, can no longer handle. And over time, those invisible pressures turn into constant discomfort, swelling, bleeding, and that deep ache that refuses to go away. To understand how this happens, picture a man in his mid-50s. He tries to live a balanced life, eats relatively well, takes short walks, works full-time, and feels proud to stay active. Yet, every morning, there's that same discomfort, the burning sensation, the pressure, sometimes a little blood. He's tried creams, supplements, warm baths. They help for a few days, then the pain returns. He assumes it's just age catching up with him. But it's not. It's habit, subtle, unnoticed, repeating habit. There are 3 of them that cause the most harm, quietly worsening hemorrhoids for millions of adults over 50. And the first one starts at the very beginning of the day, right after waking up. It's something most people consider a sign of discipline, a sign of health even. Waking up early, jumping straight into chores, exercise, or other demanding activities. But the truth is, for a body over 50, that sudden rush of effort is one of the most common causes of flare-ups. When we sleep, our heart rate and blood pressure drop. The body rests, circulation slows, and the veins are relaxed. Upon waking, it takes a few minutes for everything to return to balance. But if you jump out of bed too quickly, start lifting weights, rushing around the house, or even forcing a bowel movement before your body's ready, you're suddenly sending a surge of pressure into a system that isn't prepared yet, especially into the delicate veins of the rectum. For younger people, this pressure might not cause much damage, but for adults over 50, those veins are no longer as resilient. The walls are thinner, the elasticity is reduced, and recovery takes longer. Each morning's surge of pressure, even if small, adds up day after day. The result is chronic irritation, inflammation, and sometimes bleeding that seems to appear out of nowhere. That's why so many people report their worst symptoms right after waking up. The stinging, the swelling, the soreness that lasts the whole morning. It's not random. It's physiological. The body is still adjusting to being awake, and it's being forced to perform under stress too soon. The good news is that this habit can be reversed with simple awareness. Instead of rushing into the day, start with gentleness. Sit on the edge of the bed for a minute, take a few deep breaths, let your circulation stabilize, walk slowly for a few moments before bending, lifting, or straining. This small transition gives your heart and veins the chance to find their rhythm again. The same principle applies to bowel movements. Don't force them right after waking up. The intestines are still sluggish from rest, and forcing evacuation increases pressure in the rectal veins dramatically. Drinking a glass of warm water and waiting for the body's natural reflex after breakfast is far more effective and far kinder to your veins. It may sound simple, even insignificant, but for a body that's already dealing with slower circulation and more fragile tissues, these small adjustments can mean the difference between daily pain and gradual recovery. The body doesn't need intensity, it needs rhythm. And this first silent habit, the tendency to rush into physical effort before the body's ready, is only the beginning. Because the second habit, far more widespread and equally harmful, hides in something we do for most of our waking hours, without realizing it's quietly trapping our circulation and feeding inflammation from within. The second habit is almost universal, especially after 50. It's not something we think about, and yet it shapes the entire structure of our day. It's the simple act of sitting for hours every day in cars, at desks, in front of screens, at dinner tables. Sitting has become so normal, so automatic, that we forget what it does to the human body when repeated for decades. The truth is that our bodies were never designed for stillness. We were built to move, to walk, to bend, to stretch. Every muscle, every vein, every joint depends on circulation, the steady rhythm of movement that keeps oxygen and nutrients flowing freely. But when you sit for long periods, especially in a chair that compresses your lower back and hips, that natural rhythm stops. Blood pools in the lower body, pressure builds up in the pelvic veins, and slowly, the tissues around the rectum start to swell. For younger people, the body compensates. It recovers quickly once they stand or move. But as the years pass, and as the veins lose their elasticity, that recovery doesn't happen as efficiently. The veins remain distended for longer, inflammation becomes chronic, and eventually, hemorrhoids develop or worsen. The act of sitting, something that feels harmless, becomes a form of slow, silent pressure that the body endures for most of the day. You can see it clearly in the modern lifestyle. People sit while driving, sit at work, sit while eating, and sit again while watching television at night. It's not unusual for an adult to spend 10, 12, or even 14 hours sitting every day. For the circulatory system, this is the equivalent of tying a knot in a hose and expecting the water to keep flowing. The lower veins, especially those around the rectum, bear the full weight of that pressure. Over time, they weaken, stretch, and start to fail. And there's another layer that makes this habit even more destructive: the heat and compression it creates. When you sit for hours, the muscles around your pelvis and buttocks generate warmth that has nowhere to dissipate. The area becomes warm, moist, and poorly ventilated. The perfect environment for irritation, inflammation, and bacterial growth. The tissues swell, the veins struggle, and any existing hemorrhoids become even more sensitive. You might not notice it right away. The discomfort builds gradually: a subtle heaviness after long meetings, a dull ache after driving, a tingling sensation that appears at the end of the day. Many people mistake these signs for fatigue, but they are in truth the body's warning system. The veins are asking for movement, for relief, for circulation. The problem is that modern life doesn't allow for much of that. Our work, our routines, and even our entertainment are built around chairs. Some people even measure productivity by how long they can stay seated in front of a screen. But the body measures health in movement, in how often we stand, stretch, and let the blood flow again. After 50, the impact of sitting multiplies. The tissues that support the rectum, already less elastic, start to sag. Circulation slows down, the muscles lose tone, and the pressure builds even faster. This is why so many adults experience flare-ups not from food, but from inactivity. It's not what they eat, it's how long they stay still. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires awareness and consistency. Start by breaking the sitting cycle every 30 to 45 minutes. Stand up, stretch, walk across the room, or simply shift your weight. These small breaks restart the circulation and relieve pressure from the lower veins. Over time, they can dramatically reduce the frequency and severity of hemorrhoid symptoms. For those who work long hours at a desk, alternating between sitting and standing is a game changer. Adjustable desks are one of the best investments you can make for your health after 50. Start by standing for 15 minutes each hour, then increase gradually. The goal isn't to replace sitting with standing completely, but to restore balance. The more the blood moves, the healthier your veins stay. Even the type of chair you use matters. Soft, deep chairs that sink your pelvis inward are the worst for circulation. They compress the tailbone and direct pressure straight to the anal veins. A firm, supportive seat that keeps your spine aligned allows better blood flow and relieves strain from the lower body. And if you already suffer from hemorrhoids, using a cushion with a central opening, the kind that looks like a ring, can provide temporary relief by reducing direct pressure. But none of these adjustments will work if the core problem remains: long hours of uninterrupted stillness. The real cure is movement. Movement is medicine. Walking after meals, stretching between calls, even gentle yoga poses that engage the hips and abdomen. All these restore the natural rhythm that sitting steals away. Many people underestimate how transformative these small movements can be. In just 2 weeks of conscious activity, the difference is noticeable. The pain subsides, the swelling diminishes, and the body feels lighter. Circulation improves, and the simple act of going to the bathroom becomes easier and less painful. Because that's the heart of it. Movement heals. Sitting might feel comfortable, but it's deceptive. It's comfort that leads to stagnation, and stagnation is the soil where inflammation thrives. The challenge, then, isn't to stop sitting entirely, but to bring back the flow, to let the body live in the motion it was designed for. And while this second habit is one of the most common causes of hemorrhoid flare-ups in adults over 50, the third is even more subtle. It hides behind something that seems healthy and responsible. A daily ritual that feels like self-care, but actually tears down the body's natural protection from within. The third habit hides behind one of the most misleading ideas in modern health: the belief that more cleanliness always means more health. It's something that has been ingrained in us since childhood. Wash constantly, disinfect everything, keep every surface spotless. And while that makes sense for hands and kitchens, the same logic applied to the body, especially to the intimate areas, becomes a hidden source of irritation and inflammation. After 50, when the skin becomes thinner and more sensitive, and when the tissues in the anal area are already fragile, this habit can quietly turn a mild condition into a chronic one. It starts with good intentions, the desire to stay clean, to avoid odors, to feel fresh. But the tools people use to achieve that, soaps, wipes, scented toilet paper, antibacterial gels, are filled with chemicals that strip away the body's natural protective layer. The skin around the anus isn't like the skin on your hands or arms. It's thinner, more vascularized, and extremely reactive. It contains delicate glands that secrete oils meant to keep the area naturally lubricated and protected. When you scrub too hard or use strong soaps, you remove that protective film. You expose nerve endings and tiny blood vessels that were never meant to be in direct contact with detergents, perfumes, and alcohol. At first, the effect feels like freshness. There's a cooling sensation, a sense of cleanliness. But beneath that feeling, the tissue is drying, the microflora is dying, and the surface becomes more vulnerable. Within days or weeks, irritation sets in, a burning sensation, itching or swelling, that people mistake for worsening hemorrhoids. In reality, it's often a reaction to the very products they use to feel clean. Many adults fall into this cycle. Discomfort leads to more washing, more wiping, more scrubbing, which leads to more irritation. Each time the area becomes drier, more fragile, and more inflamed. It's like sanding a surface that's already smooth. The more you polish it, the weaker it becomes. To make things worse, most personal hygiene products are full of substances that the skin can't handle. Fragrances contain dozens of unlisted chemicals designed to cling to the skin. Alcohol-based wipes cause dehydration at the cellular level. Antibacterial soaps kill not only harmful bacteria, but also the beneficial ones that keep the area balanced and prevent infection. Parabens, sulfates, and synthetic dyes act like invisible aggressors, seeping into tissue and fueling inflammation from within. And because this is such a private area, few people ever question it. They assume the pain or itching must be part of the hemorrhoid problem itself, not a reaction to the cleansing routine. So they keep doing it, sometimes for years, never realizing they're maintaining the very condition they're trying to cure. The human body, however, is incredibly intelligent. The skin knows how to protect itself. It has a microbiome, a natural layer of oils and bacteria that defends against irritation. When you stop attacking it, it heals. The solution then is not more hygiene, but smarter hygiene. After 50, the simplest methods are the most effective. Warm water is enough to clean the area without stripping its natural defenses. A soft cloth or bidet is far gentler than toilet paper, which often causes micro-tears invisible to the eye but painful to the veins underneath. If you must use soap, it should be mild, unscented, and free of alcohol, ideally something designed for sensitive skin or babies. And always rinse thoroughly because residue left behind is another silent irritant. It's also essential to understand that dryness is not cleanliness. The body isn't meant to be completely dry in that region. A slight natural moisture is healthy. It prevents friction and allows tissues to remain flexible. Overdrying with powders, sprays, or alcohol wipes may feel refreshing, but it leaves the skin defenseless and prone to cracking. Another subtle enemy is temperature. Hot showers while relaxing dilate the veins and can worsen swelling. Cold water, on the other hand, constricts circulation. The ideal is lukewarm, warm enough to clean, cool enough to soothe. Every detail matters when the goal is to reduce inflammation instead of feeding it. When patients finally make these changes, the difference is often immediate. Within a few days, the burning sensation fades. Within a week, itching disappears. Within a month, the tissue begins to look and feel completely different. They often realize that what they thought was a chronic hemorrhoid was, in part, a reaction to years of chemical irritation. It's not about neglecting hygiene, it's about respecting the skin's natural design. The body already knows how to protect itself if we let it. After 50, this becomes even more important because the body's ability to recover is slower. Every unnecessary irritation takes longer to heal, and every chemical exposure takes a greater toll. This awareness marks a turning point. It's when people finally stop fighting their bodies and start working with them. The hemorrhoids, the discomfort, the constant flare-ups, they stop being mysteries and start making sense. Because once you remove the hidden irritants, the body's healing systems can finally do their job again. And this, perhaps, is the most powerful realization of all. The pain that seems to appear out of nowhere always has a reason. The key is to look closer, not with fear, but with curiosity and care. Once you do, the path to recovery becomes clear. And as you'll soon see, when these three habits are combined, the morning rush, the hours of sitting, and the excessive cleaning, they form the perfect storm that keeps hemorrhoids alive for years without relief. When you look at these three habits together, something becomes clear. None of them seem dangerous on their own. Waking up and being productive feels right. Sitting through a workday feels unavoidable. Keeping yourself clean feels responsible. But the body doesn't see intention. It only feels effect. Day after day, the same pressures, the same stillness, the same chemical irritation build up quietly, until one morning, the pain you ignored for years becomes impossible to overlook. Hemorrhoids are not a punishment or a defect. They are the body's way of asking for change. They show us where the balance has been lost, where the rhythm between effort and rest, between cleanliness and respect, has broken down. For many adults over 50, this realization is almost shocking. They discover that the pain wasn't caused by something mysterious inside them, but by ordinary habits repeated for decades. The good news is that the body never stops trying to heal. Even after years of inflammation, the tissues still respond when you give them the right conditions. Blood flow returns, swelling decreases, sensitivity fades. The transformation doesn't require expensive treatments or extreme measures. It begins with small, consistent choices that send the message, "I'm listening." Start with mornings, slow them down. Let your body wake up fully before demanding performance from it. A few extra minutes of calm are worth more than any routine of discipline. Movement should begin gently, allowing the heart and veins to find their pace before facing the day. During the day, fight the habit of stillness. Every time you stand, stretch, or walk, you remind your body what it was designed for: motion, rhythm, flow. The more you move, the more oxygen reaches your tissues, and the faster the inflammation fades. Walking after meals, standing during calls, pacing while thinking. These are not interruptions, but investments in circulation. And when it comes to hygiene, think of it as cooperation, not control. Your skin is not the enemy. It knows how to defend and renew itself if you stop stripping away its defenses. Replace harsh chemicals with water, gentleness, and patience. The goal isn't to feel sterile, it's to feel balanced. Over time, these adjustments create a kind of harmony that modern life often steals. The bowel movements that used to cause fear become natural again. The burning sensation turns into relief. The fatigue that lingered in your body lightens. Even your confidence changes, because pain has a way of shrinking life. And when pain fades, life expands again. It's a quiet transformation. No one around you may even notice at first. But you will. You'll feel it in the ease of your mornings, in the comfort of sitting down, in the way your body begins to trust you again. This is not about chasing perfection. It's about rebuilding trust with the body that's carried you through 50 years of experience. It's about returning the favor. And maybe that's the real message behind these silent habits. The body doesn't need to be forced, fixed, or fought. It needs to be understood. Once you stop rushing, stop sitting endlessly, stop scrubbing away your own defenses, you'll realize that healing was never out of reach. It was simply waiting for you to stop getting in the way. So let this be your reminder. Slow down when you wake up. Move more during the day. Treat your skin with kindness. Each of these choices may seem small, but together they form the foundation of long-term healing. They are proof that even after 50, the body can still recover, adapt, and thrive when given a chance. Pain is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of awareness. And awareness is the beginning of change. Once you understand that, every small act, every stretch, every deep breath, every moment of patience becomes an act of healing. Because your body is not broken, it's speaking. And now, you finally know how to listen.